it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic. Thank you for watching. This is part one of my craft room tour. So today I'm going to be focusing on all my crafting stuff, and then next week or during the week I will upload all about my sewing corner. As you can see here, it's very messy, but I'll put that in a separate video because I know a lot of paper crafters are not necessarily interested in the sewing bits and bobs. So to get started today, what I wanted to do really is talk you through my storage solutions and just really show you how my craft room has changed since the last video I did last year. So this is my third craft room tour. I hope I'm going slow enough for you so I don't make you too dizzy. You'll see if you saw last year's that there has been a lot of changes. My paper crafts has overtaken my sewing corner. It was kind of split half and half previously, and the paper crafting side has overtaken it far more than I expected. Now, a couple of things. I have taken out my two bins. I have one for recycling and one for general waste, just so I don't trip over them whilst I'm trying to follow through my iPhone. I'm just taking this on my iPhone to make it easier to walk around and open drawers. And I have also removed my chair as well, which is normally obviously just here. And my bins I normally just keep to the side here as well. So I think we'll start with the desk area because these are my new additions, these two Alex drawers, and I absolutely love them. And just give you a view of the desk now. This was also Ikea that I got probably about 6 months ago, which has really helped keep everything close to hand. The only downside is you can see there was a really big window at the back, which I do need to keep the blind closed most of the time while it's so hot here in Australia. But it does block out obviously that natural light as well, which is the only downside. So for my Alex drawers, I hope you can see, I have labelled them just on the top here. I got this idea from Simon Hurley. So thank you, Simon, for sharing that tip. I do love having them on the top and not on the front. But I'll start with my desk area. You can see I've got my little pillows underneath and my quilt. That's for a little dog, Fudge. He likes to join me. And underneath you can see I've got my fuse tool and my heat gun. Now my desk has been repurposed a little. Although I originally did love this little spinning desk caddy, I found I was just spinning it way too much for my frequently used things. So this now really only contains the stuff I need now and again. So things like my little quill tool, my Wink of Stella glitter pens. I've got a section here for all these adhesives and all my foam squares. So there's a bit of a theme for each of them. Some mixed media tools, and then a section for scissors as well. And in the middle I've just got my lint roller for cleaning up, my T-square rule, and my craft mat as well. This little baggie is full of all general stationery stuff, which I like to keep separate on hand, but I do normally have it on here. So let me just put that up. So that's normally just hanging off that. And then this is my go-to paper trimmer, which I do love, but the blades need replacing so often. It can be quite expensive. My other little paper trimmer, whilst we're talking paper trimmers, is this little Fiskars one, this little 6-inch one, which I use an awful lot for photographs. It's obviously guillotine style. This is my favourite. I really want to get a 12-inch one in that style as well, if I could. So just touching on these shelves, these are just some planners, traveller's notebooks, and more planners at the top here. And at the top of my unit I just have some things that make me happy, so every month I do change this up and do a little layout for the month we're in. This was a little gift, so I change the book of quotes when I can. I've got this LED light here for when I am recording, although I do still have major problems with lighting, so if you've got any ideas and tips I'd love to hear them. I got this Archon video mount for my camera. This is my camera here as well for when I'm recording. And I decided this year as well to put on my washi tape in this big glass jar, which was from Ikea as well, just so I can easily pull it down and make sure I start to use some of those washi tapes. They were originally on my pegboard, but that has also been repurposed, but we'll come back to that. And then the other thing that brings me joy in my craft room is this little box of memory decks cards. So you may have seen these on my Instagram. Every Monday I'll post a memory decks Monday, and I love these little quick creations with these little size cards. And I've just got my little sign, and I may as well carry on with the rest of this wall. This hasn't been touched in a long time, so probably the same as it was previously. These are just my glitter jars, and I do change up these picture frames as well. So these are 8 by 8 sized frames that I have on that. And that's just a little hook where I keep all my Project Life pages. My rust cog is at the side, but we'll come to that. So in terms of my desk, you can see I've got this expressive marker holder, which I really like having all of those kept horizontal. Got my distress sprays in the middle. And then these were from Ikea, these were from Kmart, and they're supposed to be little jewellery trays, I think. But I keep everything by colour. These are neutrals, so that I can easily pull them down when I need to work on a project. I've also got up here, out of reach, some doilies. Underneath, I've got my diamond press and all the replacement stuff with that. And then this is where I keep all of my photographs, so I know what I need to work on. I've got them all sectioned off, so I can easily find them when I get them printed. And this has been a new addition. This was as a result of me always reaching for the same things in the little spinner, that I thought I would just keep them all on my desk. So I kept them close to hand. This is just what I made, again, just to put scraps in to save me keep reaching over for the bin. And then let's go back, start on this side. This is just full of empty containers really, so if I'm pulling out an ephemera kit or die cuts, then I can just empty them into these containers, spread things out on my desk. It's kitchen paper, and then this is a little box of things that I'm trying to work through. So the stuff that I've had a long time that I don't want to get rid of, and I can't re-gift because they've been partly used. I've kept in here to try and get through them. Work my way through. These are my little sticker books, which I am loving for my Happy Planner, which is my replacement Project Life this year. You'll see more of that. I've got a video ready to go for that. And then I've got my sprocket and just some replacement ink as well for my printer. In this little drawer, oops, I'll just move that so I can open it. Again, more stationery stuff, so a lot of junk really in that drawer. If you're anything like me, junk just ends up in drawers, because if it's out of sight, then that's fine. I love being able to keep all of these 3 things on my desk, I have to say, because I just move my location to the work surface I'm working on. So this is whenever I'm stenciling, I love using this. This obviously is my main crafting area. And this is a watercolour mat as well from Waffle Flower, but you see it's very messy, it doesn't stay clean too often, but I like the non-grip aspect of it. And then again, just going up through here, these drawers, a lot of kind of, again, more paper trimmer things, just random electronic stuff, my camera, bits of notes, another junk drawer basically. Another set of trays with random things on when I need to spread out. And then this is all my adhesives that I reach for all the time. So these are the ones I'm using more often than not these days. So I keep everything in here just because I'm super lazy and I don't want to stretch over to the little spinning caddy. This is, oops, pull this down as well. Probably one of my favourite things this year that has found its way in my craft room. It's a bit of a mixed media tub. So I've always had a lot of these things, but I've never stored them this way. So things like the Nouveau mousses, the glaze, the glimmer paste, gesso, the transfer gel, and the pen as well that goes with it. I've got masking fluid, multi-matte medium, modelling paste. I've got all of my fun messy stuff in here, so I like having all that in one spot as well. And then you see here is just a hole punch and stapler, because the hardy swap one I got just never ever works for me, unfortunately. That's a single hole punch, which I use quite a lot. There's a double one in the back as well. And then these are 2 little washi stands, again from Kmart. They were only, I think, $2. So my favourite washes are in here as well to make sure I get those used. So it's good to have those on hand. And I'll quickly go through the drawers as well. Excuse the messing around. Now on top of these drawers is where I keep these planners. And this is where I make notes of what I'm going to record for YouTube. If I've got any due dates for anything, projects I want to make by certain times, I'll get kept it in that planner. That keeps me organised. The first drawer I have is my distressings, and I just love having this colourful drawer. I've also got my photos in there as well as this distress refresher. This is one of my favourite products from last year because it really does bring to life some of these markers that can dry out, but again I like to store them horizontally. And my little blending brushes, which I don't use anymore, so a lot of these do still have some of the little foam circles at the back, but I don't use them anymore. I use the blending brushes, which I'll show you very soon. So that first drawer is on my distress. Then I've got my inks. You see I've got my Catherine Pooler. If you saw my video last week, you'll know I'm absolutely in love with these. So I've started collecting those instead of the Memento, which I was in the process of buying, as well as some archival inks. Got one of the little storage containers. I absolutely love storing my sequins like this. And this is just embossing, and then my perfect pearls are in there as well. The next drawer is scrap paper. So in an attempt to try and be less wasteful, I have arranged these little baggies in different colour combos. So I'll reach for these before getting a brand new sheet. Anything whilst I'm working will go in here, and a lot of whites I keep in here as well, just in case I need some scrap paper to test out a stamp, that kind of thing. And always keep these little strips as well, so they don't get wasted, the little manufacturer strips. And then very similar but with coloured paper, I've got all of my paper in little baggies. These are just the plain paper, not the pattern, which you saw before. And then these are my go-to as well, and again I just leave them on top, and then when I get too many of them I then file them away where they need to be. And then the last drawer is on my Christmas stuff. So this is very messy. It's all in one of these tubs. I've kind of culled a lot of stuff last year, so I've got these 2 tubs full of Christmas and some replacement glues. These are all my kind of calligraphy pen ink things as well. I'm trying to get better penmanship with some lettering, so that's where I keep that. So I've left my laptop here because this is where I normally have it on display on here, watching podcasts or YouTube while I craft. And I got this little cover as well recently from Ikea, because that's a chopping board which fits really nicely on the Raskog. So underneath here, so I don't use it very often, is my laminator, my label maker, some replacement tapes. Just pull all this out. This is a bit of recycling stuff, so rather than throw packaging away, I keep it all in here, and then I'll make sure I use these first off as well in projects. And similar here, I've got lots of cardboard here that I'll use if I want to add some dimension to a layout, and the rest of it, if I can try and have a look, is all planning. So whilst I've got the Raskog out, I'll show you what else is tucked in these cupboards. You can see I don't use them very often. This is stuff that probably don't do anymore. So things like jewellery making. This is full of tissue papers, old wrappings, tissues, that kind of stuff. This is full of lots of kinds of craft things. And this is full of book stationery stuff. Carrying on down this side, this is another kind of recycled drawer. So I keep, again, this is where I keep all plastic packaging. So I make sure I use these. And then my punches are in this drawer. And then in here I've just got some of my albums as well to display. So quickly moving up here, because we didn't touch on this. This again was from Ikea, and it's meant to store normal letter size or A4 size, but I do store my 12x12s that I want to try and get through. And this is my little tub full of my Go Pressing foils. You see, I absolutely love them. And this is my machine here, so I use that an awful lot. I've also got this container from Ikea for all of my Project Live cards. Again, something I want to try and get through. And then my score pad, which also has some stuff on the back as well for making envelopes. This is any projects I'm in the middle of. Get stuck in here. This little tub from Ikea has got all my bits from the quills, the singe quill and the etch quill, that kind of stuff. going to just move back now so you can see the pegboard. And I have had to repurpose this just since I've got the Cricut Maker. I've got a lot more stuff to store now. So you can see I've got some of the rolls from my mystery kit recently. And I've started also to incorporate a layout. And I've also started to store here. That was last year's 6x8 layouts, and I've got a new one for this year as well. I've got some random things on here, like my Xyron Maker, lots of markers, pens, cameras. It's just a catch-all really for the stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else. So you can see I don't work in a completely tidy craft room. I don't think any productive crafter can. I do like to keep my desk area tidy. At the end of the day, I always make sure it's clean. But in terms of storage, I am as messy as the next person. I really am. So you can see I've got my big shot as well. And then I've moved this year all of my stamps and dies as well. So across these, and this was a Kmart, very cheap holder as well. So this is where I keep all of my punch boards, real memory keep punch boards, and on top is just projects I've done that need to go into these little albums, as I mentioned. And then I've also got my junk journal at the back, and any projects that I've worked on just as like a little display area. So this was a recent one I did, so that'll stay up there for a little while as well. And then that is my planner, my inventory planner of all my supplies, so I know where I'm up to. So anytime I buy something new, I tend to throw it on here, and before I organise it, I make sure everything goes in that planner, so I don't buy duplicates and I know exactly what I've got. Stuff that I've still to organise in the planner just goes at the front here. So you can see I don't have too many stamps and dies, so all of them fit quite nicely in this one tub, but I do just categorise them this way as well. So you can see this side is all of my lawn fawn, because I love lawn fawn, and then at the back it's just the standalone dies as well in the back here that I share in with them. Let's carry on with these drawers. So then I have another drawer of adhesives. So yeah, I've got adhesives in 3 places. I think I'm a bit obsessed. This is more random stuff like my glue gun, things like sellotape, blue tack, refills, sticky dots, that kind of thing. Acrylic paints are all in here. So that's a good way to keep them out of the way. And then these 3 are all part of my sewing stuff. So if you check back for my next video, I'll be doing part 2, which is all of my sewing stuff. I will say this final one is also a bit of a mess, so don't be fooled into thinking I'm super clean and organised. These are just more albums and things that I really don't know where to put them. So yes, I'm very lucky and grateful I've got a craft room, but I need a bigger craft room. Well, as we all do. I need to stop buying things, my husband said. I have a little cat that I got from Ikea, which I keep purposely on this side because I don't use it an awful lot and I don't go into the drawers behind it an awful lot. So the cat was from Ikea, as well as these little tubs. So this is all kind of paintbrushes, that kind of thing, watercolour pencils, my Gansol. On top here are these are my 6x6 pads, and then these are my 6x8 pads, and then I've got 6x4 paper pieces here. My typewriter got demoted, unfortunately, just because she doesn't work very well, so I need to save up and get her serviced. And then on the last place here, I've got my December dial, which I'm still desperately trying to get finished. But normally on these 2 shelves I just have working projects, so as soon as I finish December daily I can repurpose this tub for whatever other project I've got on the go. So this is one of the really useful tubs. I really like the fact that it's got this tray where you can separate everything out on. So that is that. See, I've got some chalks as well, some crayons, my little glass for when I'm watercolouring. And then we'll move over to this side. So this is the top white tub was a gift for my birthday actually from work. It's full of blanks for my Cricut, so I can practice using my Cricut Maker. You can see here these are lots of 12x12 tubs, and where I've got the full, originally I had the full collections that I use quite regularly, but these stickers keep peeling off, which is a bit annoying. This top is all my card making stuff, so actually I've got Christmas stamps in here. This is my craft planner, These are all my card blanks, and if I move that, I've got more packaging stuff underneath and cards that have been completed in that one as well. Let's see just on the side, more card blanks as well. So that's all my kind of card making stuff in that one. This one did used to add A4 paper, and it does only store A4 12 by 12 sheets. It does overhang quite a bit at the back, but I find if I don't push them in all the way, I can get away with it, and they just come out a bit closer than they should. See, that one goes all the way back and that one sticks out a little. So you can see this is my 12 by 12s mainly, and the different types of paper that I'm storing. These are just individual ones, and this is another tab at the top of things that I just need to work through. I've had it for ages, can't really give it away, but I want to try and get through some of the random stuff in here. And then these two drawers are from Officeworks. They were a bargain, they were in sale, and so this is now how I store all my alphas. So I've got kind of colour groups, got like my blacks and whites and greys, all my bluesy greens, my golds, my pinks, that kind of stuff. So I really like having these organised that way. These drawers are sewing, so I'll skip past those. And I'll come down here. So this is another one of these units, and this time you can see again I'm storing them based on what's inside. So a lot of white paper, different thicknesses of white stock, cardstock, whether acetate, laminated, magnetic. Speciality paper is things like tracing paper, blending paper, watercolour paper, and on my fabric foam and adhesive paper at the top. And at the bottom I've got my sewing books, which I will cover off in the other part. This little cupboard is full of random stuff as well, so you can see I've still got plenty hiding spots with these doors to hide any mess that I might have in my craft room. Tucked along the side here, again, things I use for photographing, so I just tuck them at the side. And then this brings us to our last section, and I've got this shelf here just underneath, which has got all my alcohol markers and my Kaiser mist, and then my liquid pearls as well, so I really like having those close to hand. This little pegboard is from Ikea. All my tools are my Cricut machine, my pixie spray, purple tape. These are all my fabric quill pens, my glue, glitter. I even managed to get a little Cricut cutie out of the mystery box. My hair dryer's down here with extra clips, and then of course my Cricut Maker, which I know a lot of people decorate, but I'm not going to decorate it. I've just kept these odd bits on here so I don't waste them and I can reuse them. And then lastly, for this set of drawers, I've got my stamping stuff. So you can see I've got my scrubber pads, my regular inks that I use a lot, my blending brushes, all my acrylic blocks squeezed in on my little, you see those little stamps at the back, as well as my positioning tool as well. So this is one of my favourite drawers. I go into it all the time, and I am always using anything I need for stamping is in this drawer basically. Then this is my Cricut drawer, and again I've used these little baggies, these 12 by 12 baggies. I've got one full of bits and bobs with scraps. I don't put vinyls in a bag because I've got so many and I use that a lot, but the other stuff in the bags are things like HTV, transfer sheets, I've got faux leather, that kind of stuff. Here I've got my brayer and all of my quill stuff, foil quill or attachments, adapters. I bought a freestyle one recently, but I've not used that yet. And then I've got a drawer full of stencils, which are very messy again. I should maybe have tidied these drawers before I came. But this is what I keep on my pickers. I do keep this one out because I use it a lot. This is where I also have some of the tulle, some of the crepe paper, and these are more from my planner days, but I've kept them in here as well. And my watercolour drawer, so I really like this drawer as well. So I've got all my little palettes at the back. These are all my brushes, a clipboard to just pin down paper with, watercolour paper and pads, and then I've also got some ink blending stuff at the front as well. And then die cuts, you can see press and seals here, and then the die cuts are arranged by colour. And again, if I need something, I've got a colour in mind. So for me, this is a better way of storing it than say flowers or butterflies. So I've got quite a few of those as well. So these, when they're in a full collection, I keep them in the full collection. But when I've used it and there's not much left, then I'll merge them into these as well. And then at the bottom, I've got my kits. I've got random bits of foil here, the negative parts, which I will keep and use. And I've reused these baggies as well. You see, this one was an old Studio Calico kit. These are all citrus twist kits. I'll just mark on what they are. So that is my craft room tour of 2020. I hope you like that insight, being able to see behind the scenes from when I'm creating my videos. I hope you got some tips on storage, although as you can see, I am pretty messy as well. So I hope you like that little glimpse into my craft room. I did do a little bit of a tidy up, but not too much. I wanted you to see what my craft room normally looks like. So thank you for stopping by. Have a great crafting week. Stay safe in these crazy times, and I hope you visit back again soon. Hey, thanks for watching. If you've got any comments about this video, please leave them below. I'd love to see them. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That way YouTube knows to recommend similar ones for you. And finally, if you'd like to see more from me, and I hope so, please subscribe by clicking the link below. I post new content every weekend.